Let us see our first multivibrator, that is astable multivibrator. As the name itself indicates that it doesn't have any stable states. The two states of this are quasi-stable states. Okay, let us see a couple of points about the stable multivibrator here. The astable or free running multivibrator generates square wave without any external triggering pulse. That means the output of this multivibrator will be a square wave without any external input, without any triggering signal. It will generate a stable multivibrator. It has no stable states. That means it has only two quasi-stable states. These are the main points. And the other name of a stable multivibrator is free running vibrator or free running oscillator. Okay, this is used to generate square wave without any external signal. So now see how the square wave will get generated. See, this is the circuit diagram. So draw with me circuit diagram. We want two transistors. Take two identical transistors. Okay, and RC1, RC2, transistor Q1, transistor Q2. Okay, first collector resistances, and then we know that coupling elements of this transistor is both capacitors. As this it is a stable multivibrator, it is having two quasi-stable states. The coupling elements will be two capacitors. Firstly, draw these emitters as ground as it indicates CE configuration. Output, this output collector is given to Q2 base. Okay, directions will be plus minus C1 here. The output of Q2, that is this point, collector 2, plus minus C2 is joined to base of Q1, crisscross method, C1 C2. Okay, so in order to provide stability, we are taking two resistances, R1, R2. This is the circuit diagram of a stable multivibrator, and this is VC1, V01. This is VC2 and the same voltage is V02. Base voltage VB1. This base voltage will be VB2. This is the circuit diagram of your stable multivibrator. Take a look into this. Okay, you have to draw two transistors like this, and the coupling elements will be capacitors. So now let us move to circuit description. Listen, first we have seen some first point as introduction to a stable multivibrator, couple of points, and second point is our circuit diagram. Okay, this is the circuit diagram of a stable multivibrator. So what we have to describe in description about Q1, Q2. So Q1, Q2 transistors are identical transistors. Okay, and the output of identical transistors connected in CE configuration. Okay, and then output of Q1 VC1 is connected to input of transistor to Q2 VB2 via coupling capacitor C1. At the same time, right here also, output of Q1, output of Q2 is connected to input of Q1 via, input of Q1 is VB1 via coupling capacitor C2. VC2 is connected to VB1 via C2 and VC1 is connected to VB2 via C1. Okay, this is the description that we can write over here. Okay, in addition to that, what we have to assume in description is, so let quasi-stable state QSS1, quasi-stable state 1 will be Q1 on, Q2 off. Okay, at the same time quasi-stable state 2 be Q1 off, Q2 on. Okay, these are the points that we have to describe in description. So now moving to working. This is the very, very important working. Okay, how it works. So as if you see in this circuit, so I am taking this for reference here. Is there any external input signal that is applied to base? No. So the operation starts from VCC. So first we have to switch on VCC. VCC is applied. First we have to apply VCC. Okay, first point is this one. Second point is we have to assume the circuit will be in either of the quasi-stable states. So let us assume the multivibrator is in either quasi-stable state 1 or quasi-stable state 2. So I am assuming quasi-stable state 1. What is quasi-stable state 1? We have taken here Q1 on and Q2 off. Okay, so current status is Q1 on and Q2 is off. This is the current state of multivibrator when VCC is in on condition. So now let us see what happens to the on transistor and what happens to the off transistor. Okay, if Q1 is on, if Q1 is on, VC1, that means output of Q1 transistor, this is on transistor, so this is approximately is equal to VCE saturation. Okay, VCE saturation will be either 0.1 volts or 0.3 volts. We know this. VCE saturation approximately is equal to 0 volts. We are taking ideal conditions and ideal cases here. If you want to go for practical, the voltage will be 0.3 volts. That we are not going to consider here. In order to analyze the operation, we are considering VCE saturation is equal to 0 volts. The output of on transistor is 0 volts. Okay, so next, at the same time, during the same duration, when Q1 is on, Q2 is in off condition. So when Q2 is in off condition, what about output of VC2? VC2 is, this is off transistor. For off transistor, we know that output is equal to VCC. VC2 is equal to VCC. Okay, so at this time instant, that means, or else during this time, what happens? During this time, capacitor C1 starts charging. See here. If you clearly observe in this circuit, this is on transistor and this is off transistor. The output of on transistor is always low. We know that. Okay. So by taking VCC from here, capacitor C1 starts charging. Okay. That's why C1 is charging. How much time constant it takes means R1 into C1. So C1 starts charging. The charging will be exponentially with tau is equal to R1 C1. Time constant is equal to R1 C1 towards VCC. It is charging. So it will charge up to maximum extent. The maximum extent voltage in our circuit is plus VCC. Okay. So here towards plus VCC, and obviously if you see here what happens, the capacitor is charging exponentially to where the capacitor is connected in between here and here. From here it is taking voltage, so that voltage will go to VB2. Okay, so here as a result, voltage at base 2 VB2 also increases, okay, towards plus VCC. So during this instant this happened. Because of on transistor, VC1 is equal to 0, capacitor C1 starts charging exponentially, having some time constant. Because of being connected to base 2, because of that crisscross coupling, VB2 is also getting increased here. Okay, so see, whenever VB2 is approximately is equal to VBE or V gamma. Whenever base voltage at base 2 is equal to V gamma, which is cut-in voltage of diode, then Q2 transistor will become on. Okay, so when Q2 transistor will become on. So now Q2 is in on condition. What about VC2? VC2 will be approximately is equal to VCE saturation, which is approximately equal to 0 volts. Yes, so because of Q2 on, VC2 is 0. To where this VC2 is connected, if you observe here, this VC2 is connected to VB1 via this capacitor C2. So what happens to C2? C2 behaves as a coupling capacitor here, and because of this VC2 is approximately 0 or decreasing, it leads VB1 also decreasing or approximately is equal to 0 here. Because of this connection, the voltage here is connected here. Okay, so what will happen by taking 0 volts here? Q1 transistor will becomes off. That means in previous case Q1 is in on condition, but now here Q1 is in off condition. Okay, and here is the additional key point here. Okay, so if Q1 is off, what about VC1? VC1 is approximately is equal to VCC. Okay, so because of this increase in voltage, VC1 is equal to VCC, it causes an overshoot because of more voltage at capacitor, sorry, collector 1, okay, VC1, no need of confusion here, VC1, because of VC1 it is 0 previously, but it is now equal to VCC, and an overshoot occurs in output because of this VC1. So this is called second quasi-stable state. What is second quasi-stable state? Q2 on and Q1 off. So we have assumed our transistor it in quasi-stable state 1, that is Q1 off and Q2 on. We have analyzed what happens to Q1 when it is in on and what happens to Q2 when it is on, and depending upon the capacitor charging times, how it is going down. Okay, like this, from quasi-stable state 1 to we reached quasi-stable state 2 in a stable multivibrator. As this the same circle repeats here, from quasi-stable state 2 to quasi-stable state 1. You have to write in examinations from quasi-stable state 1 to quasi-stable state 2, and from quasi-stable state 2 to next further quasi-stable state 1. The cycle you have to write. Okay, and before and after that, see how much time it takes to reach from one quasi-stable state to another quasi-stable state. We are telling that because of capacitor C1 charging, it is the state of change from first quasi-stable state to second quasi-stable state. How much time the capacitor is taking to charge, that we are going to analyze next. Okay, so what we are going to write is, we are going to find expression for time period t. That means time period t. So now let us find the expression for time period t. Means how much time it will be in on condition and how much time it will be in off condition. So let us assume T1 is the duration in which our Q1 transistor is in on condition and T2 is on period of Q2. Okay, so we know that T is equal to T1 plus T2. We know one equation that we have already discussed in EDC. Output voltage V0 is equal to V final minus V final minus V initial into e power minus t by tau. Okay, this we can directly write for linear wave shaping also. Okay, whenever capacitor comes into picture, this will be the output voltage. So in that, what will be V final value? V final value will be the maximum voltage, that is plus VCC, and V initial value is from what minimum value the output goes. So Vi is equal to minus VCC here. Okay, why it is minus VCC means, if you see the waveforms in next few minutes, then you can get a clear view of this. Vf is equal to plus VCC and Vi is equal to minus VCC, and V0 is output voltage at B2. Okay, V0 is output voltage at B2. Nothing but V0 is equal to VB2 At the same time, capacitor C2 comes into picture here. It starts discharging exponentially. The voltage of B2 increases exponentially. Okay, well, capacitor starts discharging, C2 starts discharging from the circuit. What starts increasing? Voltage at base 2 will get increases. Okay, so time constant tau will be R2 into C2, as we have seen in the working. Okay, tau is equal to R2 into C2. V0 is equal to VB2. So if tau is equal to R2 into C2, what will be the VB2 value? Whenever VB2 is equal to V gamma, then only Q2 will get on. So VB2 is approximated to V gamma here. So substitute all the values in this equation. V gamma is equal to V final VCC minus VCC minus of minus VCC into e power minus t by R2 into C2. V gamma is equal to VCC minus 2 VCC into e power minus t by R2 C2, that equal to VCC into 1 minus 2 e power minus t by R2 C2. Okay. Let the transistor be ideal transistor. Let Q2 and Q1 both will be ideal. Ideal means from 0 they have to start conducting. Therefore, V gamma is equal to 0. In the case of practical, V gamma is equal to 0.7 or 0.3 depending upon silicon and germanium. Okay. So, V gamma, substitute V gamma is equal to 0 here. Zero is equal to VCC into 1 minus 2 e power minus t by R2 C2. This t is nothing but T2. Here we are finding out T2. So 1 minus e power minus T2 by R2 C2 is equal to 0. What we have taken here? Okay, we have taken small t1 and small capital T1 and capital T2. So the time period will also be capital T2. One by 2 is equal to e power minus T2 by R2 to C2. So from this, by using logarithmic or the else approximations, we have to take minus T2 by R2 C2 is equal to ln of 1 by 2. So what is ln of 1 by 2 is minus 0.693. Minus and minus will get cancelled, and T2 is equal to 0.693 times R2 into C2. Okay, this is T2 value. Similarly, we can write the same. We are having ideal transistors and we are having everything in same. So we can find out T1 in the same way. So in order to not find out T2, T1 is equal to 0.693. The time constant will be R1 C1. What about total time taken? T is equal to T1 plus T2, that equal to 0.693 R1 C1 plus 0.693 R2 C2. Let R1 equal to R2 equal to R and C1 equal to C2 equal to C. Total time is equal to 0.693 into 2 RC. So what is the value now? It is 1.386 times RC. This is the total time of astable multivibrator. So now let us see the waveforms of astable multivibrator here. Rather than seeing, we'll draw it. Okay. This is VC1. Initially, we took the quasi-stable state 1 in which Q1 is in on condition and Q2 is in off condition. So, whenever Q1 is in on condition, VC1 is VC is saturation or else 0, minimum value. And till T1 it continues. After T1, the value will go to VCC here. This is VCC value. Q1 will be off, Q2 will be on. Okay, like this. This is T1, this is T2. Again the same continues, Q1 on and Q2 off here. This is what we have found out. T. Now, okay, next. See at VC2 now, whatever comes at VC1, it just reverses at VC2. If this is low, this will be high. If this is high, this will be low. Q1 on, Q2 at VC2. This will be the pulse. Okay. So now observe like this. Observe at VB1. What happens to VB1 is initially VB1 that is on transistor, so it will be somewhat weakened because of this excess voltage that we have discussed in working. There will be some overshoot and it falls to minus VCC and then it exponentially goes to here. Somewhat this overshoot will be there and now again like this it will come. This is at VB1. This is VB2. So how VB2 comes? If this is V gamma, this will be at minus VCC, from minus VCC to some point like this. It goes. Okay. These are the waveforms of your astable multivibrator. In detail I am giving. Okay, what are the applications? It can be used as square wave generator, voltage to frequency converter, or else as a clock. Used as harmonic frequency generator, used in construction of voltmeters and SMPS, used as oscillators over radio and audio frequencies. Okay, these are the applications of your astable multivibrator. Hope you understood this one.